Wait, what? Did Fabiano really just say what I think he said when I just told you guys? Wait. So wait, does Fabiano not read his contracts? All right, so this is Fabiano on the whole topic.
15-minute no increment for $1 million, and which isn't happening.
Let me put closed captions
Nice
on
segue.
too.
Speaking of $1 million, obviously Hans announced first that the tournament is not happening because of contractual disputes. Then
If it's too loud, I'll turn it down, you guys.
confirmed that to everybody on Twitter. Tournament is not happening. Your initial thoughts about that? Are you disappointed?
Of
Were you
course.
looking forward to that?
No, I mean, like when it first got suggested, well, first, like online, right? I saw it, and then okay, this is never gonna happen. Zero chance.
Right.
And then
Kind
I
of a
got
joke,
invited, and I
right?
was like, well, yeah, I'll think about it, but like very unlikely that. And then I actually found someone, and then I was like, well, yeah, I can play. And
Okay.
and then I still didn't think it would happen because at that point it was like, okay, yeah, it seems like it's going forward, but still we need to get the contract signed, and then at some point the contract
Yeah,
will
of course,
sign,
you guys.
everyone-
Who knew that Gamba and chess go hand in hand? I mean, who knew that Gamba and chess go hand in hand, right? Like, who knew? I mean, all those people who complain about Gamba and all these other things, like, at the end of the day, everybody's just full of baloney because you see it. You see, this is like a perfect example. Like, people are happy to gamble in chess more than willing.
That's what I heard privately. Everyone agreed, everything's signed, the funds are secured, I heard.
How could Fabiano find $1 million? I mean, I don't know. I have no idea like about this. Like, I don't. Maybe Fabiano is going to say who it was. I highly doubt he is, but maybe he will. Like, my best guess is that he probably found someone in the poker world who's doing very well, who's willing to bet on him. Because honestly, if I think about it from a perception, if you perceive that Fabiano, Noterbeck, and Nepo are that much better than Hans, I think it's a good bet. I think it's objectively a decent bet to take because you're looking at essentially a 60% loss or 50% if you finish second place or 100% if you win, right? I think it's 2 million, 1.5. So I mean, you're literally looking at 2/3. You're basically looking at 2/3 if you perceive Hans to be the weakest player in the field. So like you're looking at 2/3, and I mean, I'm not saying it's great odds, but you're looking at odds that make some sense. It's decent EV. It is definitely decent EV.
And then I was still like, okay, it's not 100%, but everything is moving in this direction, and I don't really know like who's sponsoring who from the event. I mean, Hans posted a photo of his sponsor. I wasn't like too surprised that Noterbeck would find some backing because he does have a sponsor. It is a bank. I don't know if it's that, but it's possible, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
By the way,
like
also I'm going to say one thing just about this, because like, I mean, like Fabiano here it feels like fibbing a little bit, because when he says Noterbeck has a bank that backs him, just because you have a sponsor, they're very rarely going to put $1 million into a tournament. Like like I've had sponsors in the past with sponsor. There's no way they're going to go from giving you like 50 grand or 100 grand to suddenly giving you $1 million for a random tournament. That's just not how it works. That's just not how it works, period. So it's definitely something else. It's definitely something else.
national hero of some sort. And again, like with these sponsors, very often it's going to be
Yeah, I
some
mean,
sort of,
like people
like in
are
poker, yeah?
people are acting like it's $1 million. I mean, they're acting like it's super easy to just find $1 million lying around, and that's just not how it works.
Like a backing, but
Like,
Yeah.
could be a friend, could be.
no, but like they expect something in return. They're
Of
not
course,
just giving
yeah,
you the
yeah.
money, right?
Yeah.
And that was the case for me as well. And then yeah, Hans announced like a few days ago that there was some dispute. Again, it wasn't clear exactly what dispute. And that
I mean, I'll tell you what I think happened with Fabiano, by the way, to be very clear, much like probably, I mean, I have no idea about the others, but I think what I would say, I think what I would say about Fabiano is probably what happened with Fabiano is he found someone who's willing to probably put in, I'm going to bet like 75 to 80%, and he was able to, he would put in like 20%. I'm betting that's what he did. It's a weird camera angle. I think normally you're supposed to be bottom left facing in. versus being on the bottom right. But anyway, back to the topic. I mean, my guess is Fabiano found somebody probably in poker who basically was willing to put up 80%, and Fabiano puts up 20%, and then of course, like if he does well, they're of course going to get their percentage. And that's actually what happens a lot in poker. Like I haven't done it recently, but I have in the past sometimes bought equity and people who go and play like at the World Series. And I saw someone who was selling some shares in poker for the World Series this year. I didn't end up doing it, but in poker it's very common that like you sell your basically you sell your action essentially. So to me it seems like that's probably what happened with Fabiano. I bet it was something like he puts up 200 grand and someone else puts up 800, and that's probably very, very straightforward.
He had some concerns that like the organizers and the players were like, I don't, doing something together. I don't know if he like made a specific claim there or just that he was concerned. Which, yeah, again, I don't know what the deals of the other players are, but that wasn't the case for me.
So Vadim was not your sponsor?
No.
Okay.
And then yeah, I mean, I understand the concerns. Like also he said that the contract wasn't super professionally worded. I think that was what he said basically. Or I don't know exactly the words he used, but that it wasn't like, it didn't seem very professional, with like no clause in case someone backs out. But that I'm sort of used to. I think that there usually aren't. So I once backed out of a tournament, and then I was kind of like, warned, and then I agreed. It was like scheduling conflict. It was like 6 years ago.
This is also one other thing I was going to say about tournaments, like what Fabiano was talking about. This does happen, but in recent times much more so. Contracts have become much tighter, I think in large part because of the scandal in St. Louis that happened, where I mean the tournaments that I have played, I think there are clauses that basically say like you're not clause, but you can't back out. Like as I said, the Grand Chess Tour, it definitely says that. I mean, maybe I'll even find it. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can actually find it. I don't think it's a big deal if I reveal that part of the contract. Let me find it. Let's see if I can open this. Okay, let me open this on another tab. Events and player commitments, responsibilities. Let me just see. Prize fund complete. Yes, exactly. I mean, I'm only gonna read you one clause from this, but it says, yes. Player hereby agrees to play every game of each event for which player is selected, and if applicable, any playoffs. Barring medical injury or family emergencies, penalties for withdrawing are as follows: $20,000 for withdrawing from a classical tournament, $10,000 withdrawal from a rapid and blitz tournament. So like the contracts have gotten a lot tighter. That of course is related to the Grand Chess Tour, for anybody who's wondering. That's the only bit I'm going to read, obviously, because most of that is confidential. But like you cannot withdraw from tournaments anymore with like the Grand Chess Tour and other events. But in the old days, this was very normal. It's probably in more recent times, like 2020 onwards, that they've become much stricter.
But there's almost never like a provision in the chess contracts, tournament contracts, that say like we're going to fine you or something.
Wait, what? Wait, what? Did Fabiano just... Wait, excuse me? Wait, what? Did Fabiano really just say what I think he said when I just told you guys? Wait. So wait, does Fabiano not read his contracts, or is he trying to bait? What the heck? I literally just read you the provision from the Grand Chess Tour, and I just literally read you the provision, and he's like, it doesn't happen. Oh dear, oh dear. I'm gonna give Fabiano the benefit of the doubt, you guys, that Fabiano probably just doesn't read the contract, because I mean, why would he ever withdraw from a tournament? But yeah, there are actually fines for withdrawing from a tournament. So what Fabiano says here is just simply not true.
And for the organizer as well, again, I don't know. I haven't been like uninvited from a tournament during, so I haven't had to deal with this. But it can happen. I guess it's just sort of the nature that you're probably not going to have any legal recourse if you suddenly get like, if the tournament falls apart or you get kicked out for some reason. I haven't really seen that happen, but. Except in the candidates, obviously, right? With Karyakin, which is a different story entirely. But yeah, he had his concerns. I don't know if they were legitimate, like if he had reason to be concerned or not, but he had his concerns for whatever reason. It fell apart. Vadim responded, but I don't think he like addressed it. I think he just said the tournament's still ready to play. I'm still ready to play.
Whoever plays, right? Or
yeah, I actually didn't really care. I mean, I thought
it's just not going to happen though, you guys, because like it's what I told you. Basically, if they're 4 players of equal strength, there's no point to the tournament, because like you're literally, that's just pure, that's like flipping, that's like literally putting a spin on roulette. Like if you have 4 top players competing against each other in this, it's just it makes no sense. It just makes literally no sense at all.
Okay, it's gonna be fun if it's Hans, but I really don't care if it's gonna be like this super, you know, dramatic event, which like,
like Magnus or
yeah, I mean
anybody else from top 10.
For me, it was still interesting for the money.
But you know what else is sad about this, you guys? I'll tell you what's really also very sad about this, and this is like a general bigger thing, is that the fact that they came so close to organizing this tournament with a $4 million prize fund, and chess.com was unable to put together a match between Magus and myself, which I think had a prize fund of $1 million, actually reflects very poorly, I think, on the overall future as far as chess.com and where chess is going. Because if you think about this, like you have the sponsor who's able to essentially try and put together a tournament with $4 million, and chess.com, which is a $1 billion chess company, was unable to put together a match between Magus and myself, which had a prize fund of $1 million. So that like, just seeing this, I'm worried that it portends very poorly for the future of chess.
Why I was doing it.
Yeah, it's a fun event.
I wasn't doing it because I want to desperately play some blitz chess with Hans. I don't really care who it's against. But yeah, that's unfortunate. It seemed like a fun event. I think it would have gotten like a huge amount of hype.
Huge, yeah.
Which
people were getting very excited about it.
It would have gotten some hype. I don't think it would have gotten crazy hype because Magnus wasn't playing, and I mean obviously I wasn't playing either. Like it would have gotten hype, but I don't think it would have gone like it would not have been insane without Magnus or myself playing. That's not like some ego thing, but that's just the reality. Is that it would not be it would not be, if Magus were playing, like if Magus were playing and Hans were playing, then it would be very hyped. Then it would be very huge. Actually, it would actually have real potential if Magus were in it. Can you imagine Magus in it playing against Hans? Then it would be very big. Then it would be tremendous.
But
I was getting
not a huge surprise it didn't happen. Like that was my first instinct, and then I was convinced at some point that maybe it will actually happen. But first instinct turned out to be correct. Didn't pan out. And that's it.
I want to see matches. And it seems, again, I hope that the chess world will add. I'm not saying you should move into that direction solely, only have matches, but I think it's a good addition, and it only makes sense. It's a 1v1 sport. It only makes sense to have matches, build some hype, build some rivalry, and get people interested.
But it's like,
there is one problem which Fabiano might get to here, but the problem with the notion of doing matches, like the big problem with this is that all that does is excludes all the people who are not at the very top. Like sure, like Fabiano can play every day, we can all get paid and have a good time, but it's going to exclude the people who are rising. So if you think about any number of juniors between like 2600 and 2650, or even up to 2700, if you look at those players who are in that range, if they're excluded, or you know, they can't come with the money, they're just excluded completely. So like there is a big downside to this whole notion, because like you're gonna have these kids who are improving. If everybody just wants to play matches, that's really going to be something that excludes players who are a little bit lower rated.
Who are the matches between? Like who is getting excited
Doesn't
over?
Matter.
No, but it does matter.
Well, we have like format Hans versus the
No,
world.
I understand. Okay, Hans, he's going to be a polarizing figure. Some people will root against him. Some people will root for him. He has his fans. He has his detractors. Kramnik will be a polarizing figure because of all the recent stuff.
Hikaru versus Magnus was supposed to happen.
Okay, but now you're picking like, yes, a polarizing figure who, and also, I mean, maybe Hikaru is sort of a polarizing figure. At least that seems to be the case. And,
according to Reddit, I am.
And also, they happen to be top 3 in the world. With Magnus.
Yes.
So again, you're only suggesting one match to me, and it even fell through, that one as well.
It probably has to start slow. Right now we don't have the
the problem fundamentally with this, which I think is the big issue. I mean, I would say within the chess world, I mean, there are many people who simply want to hold everything against me for getting angry over games of chess. I'm just going to be honest about it. I mean, that's just a reality. Like, people get angry at me for like yelling, for like complaining, like obviously like cursing someone out after losing a game. Like, I would just simply say that I find all of it to be pretty disappointing, and most of it comes from within the chess world. Like, I'll give you an example. I'll give you a good example. I'm not saying this is right, but if you look at Luka Doncic, who actually plays chess to a high level, have you guys seen the things he said to people when he was playing in the NBA Finals, like to fans on the side? He was like, "F your mom," and this, that, and the other thing. And nobody's getting all outraged. It's only in the chess world that people get outraged when you're really, really competitive. Because chess is supposed to be something where everyone's like super proper and this, that, and the other thing, which is just not the reality. But like that's a good example. Like if you look at Luka, like he's a great example. Look at Luka. He's running back on the court. And he yells at Celtics fans, and you look at Michael Jordan, on and on and on. And it's just funny that chess world is the only place where everybody, like all these people online, they hold it against me for getting angry over games of chess. Like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm competitive. Deal with it. But even now, I'm far less competitive than I ever used to be. So let's keep going.
Characters in the chess world, but if this kind of becomes a thing, I think the characters will be
there aren't enough
built
characters.
up, let's say, will appear, let's say, even like 2500s, 2600s, you can build up, let's say, a match card where you have 2500s.
You're going to need like maybe you have Lawrence Trent against
and then you have a main
Greg
event.
Shahadi or something. Yeah, you can build them up because they're going to trash talk and play it up and so on.
People get excited about that.
If you have a match, again, I'm going to say some names. These aren't meant to like denigrate the players at all. They're great players. But if you have a match like Yu Yang against, I don't know, Yu Yang against Sugirov.
Okay.
Like, again.
Phrase.
No, but I'm not like using it. It's just that they're not like very notorious players, right?
Sure. That's the thing. You need to build
it's not meant to be.
Well, but this actually is also a good point of what Fabiano. This is also a good point of what Fabiano is saying here. Which is like what Fabiano is saying is true, that like there are a lot of players that are just not going to build the hype. Chess does not have that many characters, and I think a large part is specifically because like your chess is not something where where people like it when you show personality, when you show like emotions. So that's not what the chess world is. They much prefer that everybody just acts stone faced and doesn't do anything, doesn't say anything. I mean, that's just the reality of chess, and that's why a lot of players actually are that way. Most people don't actually show things. That's actually the reality. Like in chess, because the chess world is so toxic and basically gets angry if anybody shows any emotions whatsoever, most people don't show emotion. Most people keep it within themselves, and then they go back to their room and then they get really angry and they go like break a table, or they smash a chair, or they go yell at the mirror. And by the way, I'm not actually referring to Hans when I say it. I know of other players who've done those things. So that's actually the point. Is like, I mean, no, I'm not. The funny thing is, I'm not actually referring to Hans. That's what's pretty funny. I know of other people who've done it, and no, of course, I'm not talking about myself. All I've done is I take a mouse and throw it across the room. Thank you to German 1018 for the sub. But anyway, yeah, this is kind of the point though, is that people don't have personalities. People don't have personalities. So because they don't have personalities, you can't bring it to a bigger audience, and chess inherently is very boring to someone who doesn't follow the game. You know, look, if I see Luka, shoot it through, I see Luka slam dunk the ball, I mean, I know what he's doing. Like, that's just the reality. I know what Luka's doing. I'm not referring to myself, but I took a mouse and I threw it all the way across the room, and I started screaming when I lost to Shankland in the Chess Champions Tour. I've probably thrown a mouse a good like 5 or 6 times across a room. Most of those times were when I was younger, but like once or twice it happened. Yeah. So anyway, let's keep going.
Either of them.
Yeah.
I mean, they're great players, but nobody's gonna watch the match.
90%.
This is true. Yeah.
95% of the players in the chess world right now don't have
like a marketable. I mean, we had matches.
Yes.
Like we had this chess Kings. What was it called in St. Louis? Kings Tour.
Champions Showdown.
Champions Showdown.
Yes.
And I was playing 2019. I was playing Hare Krishna. I don't know. Wesley was playing Lenier. Hikaru was playing Levon.
But there was no
Rapport
rivalry.
was playing Shankland.
Yes, I remember those.
And these are actual like all top players. And what was the viewership? And that's like multiple matches. And then Magnus even plays Ding. Did you have like huge viewership for Magnus Ding?
Not so much.
Like, do you think that anyone's going to watch me against Pantala, even though we're both
if you start
very strong
trash
players?
Talking Pantala, if you start like building up some sort of rivalry, yes.
No.
Yeah, but the thing is,
without rivalry,
trash
there's
talk.
nothing. Not necessarily
like-
trash talk.
If the trash talk isn't genuine, if the people don't hate each other, it's going to look fake. And I don't hate Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
And even like.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of sums it up. Like, I mean, the fact of the matter is, like, Yeah, it's just it doesn't work. I mean, I would say realistically, if we're being completely honest, there are only 3 players who can play matches where it's going to generate interest outside the chess world. And those 3 players are myself, Magnus, and Hans. Those are I mean, we're the only 3 players right now, I think, who have a big reach outside of chess. At the end of the day, and again, without chess players trying to build their presence online, it's not going to happen. I mean, Levy with the right match, you're actually right. Levy also with the right match, it's possible, but it has to be the right match. Kramnik, I don't think outside of chess, I don't think anybody cares. Hans is a big reach. I mean, everybody knows who Hans is. Are you crazy? Like, I don't even have to like Hans, but that's just a fact. I'm sorry, that's just a fact. I mean, you guys, Gary's retired, of course. Gary, sure, but I mean, at the end of the day, just being honest, like Hans's reach, I mean, everybody heard about it because Elon tweeted about it. More than Fabi, easily. Everybody knows who Hans is. Everybody knows who Hans Niemann is. Easily.